Hello everyone, my name is Alicia Jackson, licensed professional counselor, and welcome to my channel. As today we are reviewing Ready to Love season 5 or 6, depending on where you are in the count, Potomac, and episode 5. So before we get into it, of course, please subscribe to the channel, like the video, and comment below, as there are lots of interesting discussions going on about the interactions happening in this episode. We come back to the pool party, and Demetrius is about to deliver the news. Is eliminated, AP or Precious. And the one thing that kind of turned me off a little bit is that normally, on the dates, they're talking about the issues and giving feedback one-on-one, which is a more intimate setting, and it's a more intimate setting, and it's more likely that the other person's going to receive what you're saying. And in this situation, it was done in front of everybody, which I was like, I don't like that. It's just, I think that it doesn't make it easy for the other person to receive. It's a bit activating. It's a bit unsettling. It's a little much for me. But that's what happened. And so Demetrius delivered red flags that Precious is too into the club life, which I don't really feel like is an accurate assessment of Precious. I feel like she's really overly flirtatious. And it seems like she also isn't self-aware. She doesn't know really when somebody is really truly connecting with her and when they're not. And so that is really what I really feel is happening. AP, they said that she has some unresolved feelings for her husband. And, I think that is a part of the healing journey in grief. And I feel like this situation in particular, it being fast-paced, all these men, meeting them all at one time, and also doing it on camera and on a show where you don't really know if somebody's connecting with you because they're connecting with you, or connecting with you because they want to end the show, or just want to be on television. There's a lot of things, so it can make vulnerability and being vulnerable and open not the easiest on this show. It's a hard thing to do. So I don't really feel like this is the best situation for her, but I do give her much props for being brave enough to do it. I mean, my goodness, I definitely give her props for that. So they chose AP, and she was eliminated, and they continue on with their event as Eric serves up his food that he cooked for everybody. And we see, interesting enough, that Clifton made Carmen's plate. I was so caught off guard by this. I was like, oh, well, maybe they got a connection that we didn't know about. Of course, I know the cameras can only catch so much, but I was like, okay, let's see here. Eric states that he is very excited about cooking and doing what he loves for his new friends and his future wife. I said, okay now. And Takia, she speaks up and says, well, I did say that my favorite dish was shrimp pasta. He cooked shrimp pasta, so I'm just saying. So I was like, well now, let's see. He didn't cook Carmen's favorite dish. I'm just playing. I'm just playing, y'all. I'm just playing. I really am. Okay. So then Laverne starts up Truth or Dare. Okay. I was like, in my mind, I said, why are 30 and 40-year-old adults playing Truth or Dare? But this is, I'm sure production had some role in this. If this was all Laverne, then I'm more concerned about Laverne. But Tina was dared to touch the person that she had the strongest connection with on their chest. And she chose Paul. And so that was interesting. I feel bad for Wiley. She was brought on the show for Wiley because she was around his age, and she said, I like older men and I'm connected with Paul. So that's that. Sorry, Wiley. Donovan dared Joy to kiss the man she had the strongest connection with, and she ran to kiss Clifton, and he accepted. So this is interesting because Carmen gets upset or offended by this, which I'm like, didn't you just do this last episode with Takia and Eric in the kitchen? I don't know. I don't understand maybe she doesn't see how the two of those are related, but hopefully she gets some insight about that for herself. Dakia gave Carmen the option, of course, of truth or dare. She chose truth and asked her about, are you just connecting with people because of the selection that we have here, or are you connecting with people because you are really you really truly have a connection, which she was basically saying, like, is your connection with Eric real or nah? That's what she was asking. And Carmen didn't give her much much to work with. She just said, have some genuine connections, and left it at that. Eric dared Sabrina to nibble on the person's ear that she was feeling the most. And she got up and she was kind of toying back and forth who she was going to pick. And everybody felt Tori was the person. And she chose Demetrius. That really caught Tori off guard. And so I'm curious about really if she is being strategic with this move, because Tori has been pretty consistent with her, right? He's been very consistent with her, but Demetrius has been a little hot and cold. And so I'm wondering if she's doing this in order to influence Demetrius' behavior because she is maybe more attracted to Demetrius. I'm writing a story. I have no idea if this is true or not, but this is something I'm curious about. So we'll see. But Tori was very hurt. And then Ace, she dares Demetrius to kiss the woman that he feels, or the one that he feels the most, and he kisses Sabrina. And Tori is just his heart. I definitely felt for him. But this situation, this game, I guess it did what it was supposed to do, which was ruffle some feathers. It definitely did that. And that's all I have to say about that. We have some group dates, which they seem to be interesting, the choice, especially this one, was Precious, Wiley, Demetrius, Joy, and Clifton. I'm like, why would Precious go on a date where no one who's in her top is present? Maybe they're trying to, because they know that maybe the people that she's wanting to connect with don't really want to connect with her. I don't know if that's it, but it was just interesting. She seemed to be kind of just really trying to cover her bases from almost being eliminated last episode. And Wiley, just maybe they were just trying to see like a last ditch effort to kind of keep him on the show. But really, nothing came of this date. Clifton and Joy, they were flirting as they always do. Wiley was struggling in the obstacle course with those jeans on, and Precious was trying to cover her bases from almost being eliminated. That's that. I think Wiley was potentially in a situation where he knows, especially since Tommy told him, that, most of the women aren't really feeling him because he's younger, that he's really just trying to kind of soothe his wounds, and he's a little hesitant and tentative about putting himself out there because he's like, what's the use? I know you guys not feeling me. So that's really what I feel is happening with him, especially on this group date. Sabrina and Tori have a date, and Tori has some things to say. Okay, he really communicated his feelings with her about feeling disrespected and really wanting some communication from Sabrina about Demetrius. He said kind of caught him off guard. He didn't see that coming, and I feel like Tori is definitely has the right to be hurt. And at the same time, I feel like Sabrina is his number one connection, like his strongest connection. And so I feel like that's putting him in a space that he's becoming very protective. You saw that he was really trying to like push her and maybe influence her to make a decision, and she stood firm, like, I'm going to go through this process. I'm going to date and explore and see where this goes. I like you both. And she apologized for not communicating with him. And at the same time, it seems like he's like, okay, I'm gonna take a couple steps back though, because of it. And so he's being protective of that, and rightfully so. He doesn't want to be in a situation where he is putting all of his eggs in one basket or jumping into something too fast without exploring all of his options. So next we see these two dates that really didn't give us much. It was Paul and Carmen, and there was a lot of flirtation, a lot of sexual undertones. They did discuss red flags and what what they want in a relationship, but other than that, that's pretty much all they know about each other, is that there's some sexual tension there. Okay. Tina and Donovan, they have a date as well, and they connect on being a parent and being, introduced a little bit later in the show. They learned that they both like vision boards, and he fed her, and I guess that was supposed to be a nice romantic moment, but we shall see. That's kind of early. I didn't really see any sparks or any true like real connection between them, as much as she is really having that connection with Paul. So that's that. There's a group date with Laverne, Ace, Paul, Tori, Dakia, and Tina. Lots of people. So we see that there's little mini click-ups that happen. There's Paul and Tina that have a moment, and Tori and Dakia are connecting. Laverne and Ace are connecting, which is interesting to see. And he communicates his intentions with her, like, I feel like you're it for me. And I'm curious about if that's really true for him, or if he's doing that because he knows that he can potentially get eliminated. So I don't know. I hope that he's being honest with Ace, for Ace's sake, for sure. Dakia, she discusses the pool party and the drama that unfolded there with Tori, and he actually said that he's happy that the game was played, because he feels like, the ruffling the feathers needed to happen. It gave him some clarity. He now knows about Demetrius, and he's going to step back and be a little bit more strategic. And so that's that. Tina and Laverne attempt to connect, but it did not go well, as Laverne was bleeding with the bodybuilding and the Gary, Indiana situation. I don't know how him being from Gary, Indiana, and knowing that Michael Jackson is from there, but still calling Michael Jackson the king of R&B, which he is not. He's the king of pop, and how that teaches, or how that shows Tina anything about him. It seems that he can come off pretty aggressive, or even standoffish and competitive when meeting people. And so I know that this show, as I stated before, vulnerability is really, really challenging on a show like this. So I definitely, my heart goes out to all the contestants. But I really feel like potentially Laverne, as I stated with even AP, maybe this show isn't the best for him, as he stated that he's never really been in a real relationship. And so to never be in a real relationship, you don't know how you are in a relationship. And so vulnerability is going to make it more challenging. You never really committed to somebody, experienced hurt, bounced back from it. So he may be really trying to avoid that. And also, he doesn't know much about himself in a relationship, and now he wants to say he's ready to love. I don't know. So I think, this wasn't the best show for him to do. That maybe dating before he came on here and seriously having a relationship, to then say you're ready to love. That was probably the best bet. But the ladies' lounge happens, and they download to Tommy about the Truth or Dare game, and he responds in true Nephew Tommy fashion. And then we see who the top people are. So for Tina, it's Paul and Donovan. For Carmen, it's Eric and Paul. Dakia, she says it's Eric and Paul as well, saying his dance moves impressed her on the dance floor. And I said, really? That's it? He gets to be on your top because of that? Okay. I feel like that was kind of Carmen related, but we'll see. Ace said Laverne and Tori. Precious said Paul and Donovan, which I also felt was interesting, because I don't feel like either of them have that same interest level for her. So I'm curious about her awareness of really picking up those cues from them. And Paul hinted that he was, a bit a bit caught off guard by Precious' energy at the pool party. But I don't know if he communicated that with her. Donovan, I feel, in some indirect ways, definitely communicated with Precious that he was not interested. So, Sabrina, we know, is Tori and Demetrius. And Joy, we know it is Clifton. So the women chose Wiley and Laverne as the bottom two. And Ace was a little, conflicted by that, but she was taking in the information and wants him to be held accountable for how he's showing up with the other ladies. And we see that Clifton was kind of thrown under the bus with Carmen because of that kiss, that Truth or Dare game. But at the same time, no matter how hard Laverne tried, he still ended up in the bottom. So Dakia takes Wiley out and Precious takes out Laverne. Now, I don't know exactly what Laverne did, but something definitely activated Precious because we saw this like very firm voice and tone with him, and she was letting him have it. At first, he was trying to wiggle out, saying that he shouldn't be held responsible for how people were responding or showing up in this game of Truth or Dare that he started. But then he partially accepted, and she said, "Well, you turn up when you need to, and you turn down when you need to. Like you're not consistent." He did state that he has a wall up and he doesn't trust them. And again, I feel like that's because he's really just trying to protect himself. I get it, and at the same time, this is the show. This is the show. Is putting yourself out there, and that there's a potential that you're going to be hurt, and so having that awareness and trusting yourself enough to be able to be vulnerable is definitely needed to be successful on a show like this. So I think that, as much as there are some parts of Laverne that, are endearing. He's a jokester. He is, he's a flirter and the like. I just don't feel like this, again, is the best show for him. Dakia, she nicely dismisses Wiley, and he received it. I really felt like, this was just a situation where his person wasn't on the show. And I also feel like he just needs to potentially just open up a little bit more and truly put himself out there when he's really interested in somebody. So that is that on that. So we shall see how this goes as the process slowly but surely continues. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please be sure to subscribe to the channel, like the video, and comment below on all these interesting things about Sabrina. What do you think was her pause there that, to choose between Demetrius and Tori? What's happening there? Laverne, he's an interesting character. Tell me what your thoughts are about him. And as always, be cool, be calm, be centered. Peace.